Hi, this is Erma Grego from Senior Perspective. Tonight I have a very interesting program which I think you might be interested in seeing, and my very special guests tonight are Rebecca Ball and Bill Mosier, and what this is all about is the crop walk. Okay, I have a few questions here that you might like to answer so that we will know a little bit more about the crop walk. Rebecca, what is the history of crop, and what does crop stand for?
This is actually the 50th anniversary of crop, and crop began in 1947 in the aftermath of World War II, when the Midwestern farmers and really all of the United States witnessed the famines in Europe and Asia that were in part the result of World War II and in part part of a natural disaster that was occurring in Europe and Asia. The farmers in the United States wanted to respond to that. So they began by organizing trains filled with grain throughout the Midwest. And the trains would start in one community, and the farmers would fill the cars with grain, and the trains would go to the next community, and the farmers would fill more cars with grain. And that aid then eventually went to Europe and Asia to aid the victims there. That was an inter-church effort, and eventually 33 denominations and faith groups became a part of Church World Service, and now crop walks. Crop originally then stood for Christian Rural Overseas Program, but now we just say crop and have kind of lost the Christian Rural Overseas Program connotations to that.
So, Bill, do you have anything you would like to say about when crop perhaps started here in Peters Township?
Well, the crop walk's been in Peters Township for a number of years, and it's been well supported in this township. We've had up to 190 people walk at one time, and we expect to get more people out there this year. So.
Okay, yeah, we really want to get them out there because it's something that is very worthwhile, and the more we have, the better it looks. And that's Rebecca, how many crop walks are there in the United States or in Pennsylvania?
Last year there were 3,000 crop walks in the United States, and 300,000 people walked. And 3 million people participated either by sponsoring walkers or by walking themselves. So, and then in Pennsylvania there are 240 crop walks. Pennsylvania is the second largest state in the United States for number of crop walks, only behind Michigan. And we plan to change that this year.
Way to go.
I know, I was talking to somebody, I forget who it was, a friend of mine, but she was from out west somewhere, and she said they closed the whole town down, and everybody walked. And wouldn't that be wonderful if we could do that here in Peters? And that
it would be great. What you do now is wonderful. The history that you have and the amount of money that you raise every year really makes a significant difference in the lives of people, not only here in Peters Township, but in the 70 countries where Church World Service is working. How
much money is usually raised at these crop walks?
Nationally, about $22 million is raised in crop walks. In Pennsylvania, it's about a little over $2 million, between $2 million and $2.5 million that's raised annually in crop walks. And as you know, when that money's raised, a portion of that money comes back to the local community where the money is collected. So that in Peters Township, 25% of whatever's raised comes back here and goes directly to aid people who need to be fed in this community. The remaining percentage goes to Church World Service's efforts across the globe in, as I said, 70 countries.
Well, I think what are the ones here in Peters, Bill?
In Peters Township, the crop walk helps support the Peters Township Food Pantry. It also helps Cannonsburg Food Pantry, as well as a Meal on Wheels. And last year, I think we raised about $5,000 for Peters Township, supported us.
That's a good amount, and that
Yes,
helped a lot. It helped a lot of people.
Yes.
In that, so. Bill, who walks in these crop walks?
I do. A lot of people walk. The elderly, the kids, families, single people. Everybody's welcome, and everybody should get out there and walk and help support it.
Well, I think there was one year someone even came in a wheelchair, which is really fantastic to have someone.
Oh, that'd be great.
We take everything and everybody.
The Peters Township Crop Walk is about 5 miles long, and it's, if I'm correct, and it's on a really nice trail, so it makes it a perfect opportunity for families and young and old alike to be able to participate. It's not too long. The first crop walk I walked in 1976 was 20 miles long.
20 miles.
So they've really changed a lot since then, and it's very, very available for families. And
how many people lasted in the 20 miles?
it's amazing. Just about everybody. I was just talking to my grandmother the other day, who's 84 now. So she was 64, about 64, 65 then, and she made 10 of the miles. So.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Peters Township's crop walk will be from Peters Creek Presbyterian Church down to the hike and bike and back, and it's about 5 miles.
Mm-hmm. And it's all level, or is it?
Well, it's all downhill on the way to the hike and bike. It's a little bit uphill on the way.
Coming back. Uh-huh.
But you'll be full of steam, Irma. You know, you can back up those hills, no problem.
Right. What's the difference between the crop walk and any other anthem types of events in the community? Can anybody?
Well, I think more and more over the last few years, our communities have a number of walkathon type events or runathons or bikeathons. And although crops were one of the original walking events, we've been walking for well over 25 years. Now it seems that it may appear that we're kind of one of the many. But crop walks are unique in a number of ways. One of the ways for me that they're most unique is they're faith-based. They're organized in our churches and in our synagogues and in our places of worship primarily. And they bring people and unite people across faith lines in ways that very few events do. The crop walk in Monroeville last year had the Jewish community walked, the Christian community walked, the Muslim community walked, and the Baha'i community walked together. There are very few events in our communities where we can unite with each other, looking to benefit not only ourselves, but people outside our communities, and walk in support of something like
which
that.
Which would be very ecumenical, and which
Yes.
is great to get people together.
Ecumenical event.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of a crop walk I think is unique is that they're completely volunteer organized. There are not paid staff people who organize community crop walks. Community crop walks are organized by you, by people from churches in the community who come together and want to do this, who really see a need to benefit those who are hungry across the globe, and then put their time and energy where that need is, to fill that need, to really step in and walk to benefit others.
Mm-hmm. I'd like something clarified about this. Now, it's not only food that they get. I mean, they get equipment and stuff to teach them how to raise crops and that too. Is that true?
That's true. Church World Service works primarily in areas. The first area where money that's raised in a crop walk goes is to the area of development, and that's what you're talking about, economic development. So it's helping people help themselves. So sometimes it is giving someone a basket of food, but it's also often giving people packets of seeds to plant and farm, or giving people farming tools so that they can begin to farm, or helping people start a small business like a chicken farm with maybe 5 or 10 chickens that in the end provides nutrition for them, extra eggs to take to the market and sell, and reinvest in their own little economic enterprise so that economic security can be had into the future and not just food for today. The other area where Church World Service works and money from a crop walk goes is into the area of disaster relief. And we do that all over the globe. In the United States, that was really evidenced this spring in the floods in the Midwest, where Church World Service was able to go in because of your work here in Peters Township.
We not only help overseas, we help communities here too.
50% of all Church World Service funds are used within the United States in
That's
disaster
good to know.
relief and food aid and development projects.
Mm-hmm.
And the third area where your money goes when you walk in a crop walk is into the area of refugee assistance and resettlement. In Rwanda, the millions of refugees that have been away from their homes for a couple of years now are returning home. 90% of those returning refugees, the households, 90% of the households are female-headed. So you can imagine what that does to a community when 90% of the households are female-headed, what that does to the economy, what that does to the social structure. So Church World Service and your funds through CROP will be there helping those women find ways to sustain themselves economically so that their children and the next generation can have a better outlook in the future.
I think it gives them a little more of a perspective to go on and to better themselves in that. So don't you think that that does help them in that way?
It does. It provides hope. It provides
And
hope.
everybody needs hope.
Yes, yes. That tomorrow can be a little more secure.
Is the fight against hunger making any headway? Can either of you?
There are less hungry people in the world today than there were last year, or than there were the year before or the year before. And that's a direct result of communities like Peters Township doing things like crop walks, gathering together, looking beyond the walls of their own community and benefiting people across the globe. We are making progress in the fight against hunger.
But I think we've got to continue to do that. We can't ever let up our vigilance, because hunger is always going to be there. It's going to be multiple
That's
faiths,
true.
it's going to be multiple people, and we have to take the time and make the effort to support this.
I think we forget that there's hunger in our own communities too.
Very true. That's where Crop Walk comes in handy too, with your food pantries, and in helping with the Meals on Wheels and that. So, so we are helping with right here at home.
That's correct.
There is so much need in our own country, both in the area of disaster, which we talked about, and in the area of hungry. What does Church World Service do to address these concerns and needs? I think you sort of touched on it a little bit, so if you could go into it a little further.
I think that particularly right now we have an inclination to turn in and to look at ourselves and to say, well, we need so much with the policy cuts in Washington and the recent welfare changes in the welfare law. It's really on our mind what our own communities need. So I'm hearing the question more and more, well, you know, it's one thing to benefit people across the world, but we need help too. And so it's good for us to remember that Church World Service does use 50% of its resources to benefit the hungry in the United States, to benefit disaster victims within the boundaries of the United States. But Martin Luther King Jr. had a great perspective on life, and one of the things he said was he realized that he couldn't even get out of his front door in the morning without already touching people across the globe. From the fabric in the suit he put on his back, to the china in the cereal he ate his bowl, in the bowl he ate his cereal out of, to the ingredients in the cologne that he splashed on his neck. Before he walked out his front door, he was connected to the whole globe. And I think we need to remember that, because that's the truth of our lives. Yes, we need to take care of people here, but we are so connected to people all over the globe that we don't stand alone and we don't fall alone, and we're not going to walk into the future alone. Right. That we need to keep the picture of the whole globe in mind.
That's a very interesting point. I mean, you know, you don't think about how you are connected to all the different parts of the world, really, and that. So that I like that. Okay, what percentage of the funds goes for administrative costs?
Church World Service has an excellent record of keeping our administrative costs low. Our administrative costs in any given year run from 15 to 18%. So that includes all Church World Service employees' salaries, all the costs of having events like crop walks, and the cost of producing educational materials about hunger and poverty and global justice issues. That's for the type of fundraising that we do and the work that we do together. That's a terrific percentage, and we can do that because of the work of faithful people like you all here in Peters Township.
Yeah, Bill, we've got to get started on that.
That's right. Got to get those volunteers out there.
Right. Bill, this is something you can tell me about. How can
good.
Good. I'll get you in on the act too here.
Come in here.
How can we all participate in this?
Well, there's a couple of things that people could do. I know at Trinity United Methodist Church we've got Hearts and Souls, and Hearts are people that are going to help fund those that are going to be walking, and we've got a number of those, and we've got the Souls that are going to be out there doing the walking. So those are the kind of things that you can do. You can bake cookies for people that are going to be out there. You can lend your support, and I think it'll be a great time. So.
me see, is there something else we would like to inject in here or something?
Well, one of the reasons I'm going on the crop walk is because Erma will be there, and Peters Township's own Erma, so you got to come just for that, folks. I mean.
That was it. So, let me see, there's something else I was thinking of, and I can't put my finger on it right now. That Heart and Soul. I believe we're going to watch the tape on that or something for, oh, I know what I was going to ask. Where's it going to be? Did we mention that?
Yes, again, it will start off at the Peters Creek Presbyterian Church, and the crop walk will go down the Arrowhead Trail. It's all downhill on the way, so it's not too bad. And you get all the way to the hike and bike, and then it's pretty flat all the way back up, so it's not too bad.
And there's a water station down at the end there.
There's a water station and facilities down at the end, yes, at the hike and bike.
Yeah. So, well, can anybody think of anything else that we've missed, or? Oh, I know we've missed the time.
It'll be at, I'm sorry, yeah, that's right, 1:15 on October 19th, and we'll start then. So.
And Rebecca, I think you had an 800 number or something if anybody was interested in any further information.
Yes, if anyone wants more information about the Peters Township Crop Walk or about Church World Service, 1-888-CWS-CROP, and I'll be glad to answer your questions or point you in the right direction. And I want to thank both of you for your involvement, and Erma for your years of involvement with the Peters Township Walk and the lives you have touched through your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and I do want to thank both my guests, Rebecca and Bill, and thank you also very much. And Rebecca, thank you so much for all your help, and we hope that this will be a very successful walk.
Oh, it will be.
Yes.
It will be.
That's right.
So now we'll take a look at the film that I was talking about, and we'll hear more about the crop walk.
The crop walk, Den Hunger, I've heard about it, but would the people I know be willing to sponsor me?
We'd like to participate, but do we have time for this?
We really want to help. Does walking really make a difference?
My congregation, my co-workers, my neighbors, my family were more than willing to support my walk. It was easy. All I had to do was ask.
Our whole family participates. It's an opportunity for us to get together, and not only that, it's an opportunity for us to become closer with our community, our church members, and our global community.
Through Church World Service crop walks, I'm not just responding to crisis. We're strengthening people for the challenges they'll face throughout their lives by helping them help themselves. That means something. It means we're making a real difference.
Teach a community to raise fish or to dig a well. Help them develop the resources to irrigate once barren fields or to grow crops that will thrive. Encourage people to work together to uncover solutions to local problems, and you help them help themselves for a lifetime. That's what Church World Service is all about. For some 50 years, people across the United States have given their time and resources and enlisted the help of others to reach out to those in need, not only to provide in times of crisis, but to develop ways of avoiding crisis through self-help development projects, education, and resource management.
Church World Service works in partnership, I believe, in 3 different ways. First of all, right at the community experience of like what we're doing today. The crop walk, people walking together to raise funds. And then secondly, I see us working together with our partners in the local agencies that receive the 25% of the funds so that we're helping people right here at home. And then thirdly, we're working with our colleague agencies in more than 70 countries worldwide, helping to make a difference in their lives. But mainly, they prioritize the work. And then we work side by side with them, helping to make a difference through our crop walk monies.
JRRS and CWS projects are able to be maintained by the community, because before doing anything, it is the elders, it is the community opinion makers, it is the community leaders who decides what projects is taken.
I sure hope some of this will help at home too.
A large percentage of crop walk funds actually do assist people in the United States through local hunger fighting agencies. But the very fact that each day we witness suffering from around the world is evidence that our home extends far beyond our shores. It is virtually impossible to be unaware of the circumstances our neighbors face. And for crop walkers, it is impossible to stand idly by.
Church World Service works to empower people.
Think about it. Food and water and shelter are basic human needs. Deprive people of these three things and you put them in a position of desperation. How much power do desperate people have to overcome their circumstances? But reach out a hand. Simply give a person the tools to help himself wherever he lives, and you change everything. It's amazing to see the strength and courage and wisdom of people who once seemed utterly helpless, once they're given hope. And people that are nourished are in a position to learn, to grow, to care for themselves and their families, and to help others, so the benefits go on and on.
Maybe someday we'll be able to say that we've ended hunger.
The fact is, the crop walk is part of the solution. Resources already exist for people to grow enough food to feed themselves, to bring fresh, clean water to everyone virtually everywhere, and to provide safe shelter. In other words, it's not ability that's lacking, it is unity. By walking together, by working together, people can make a difference.
Okay, this is the place where we're going to have as a waiting room for the pregnant mothers. When they come in through that door.
The woman who is cooking the Somali incense, the amount of money she's using for that incense is $25. And that $25, she's going to get $40 out of it. From that, she gets a courage that she can help herself, her children, in any circumstances that she is in.
In the last 10 years, crop walks have raised over $120 million, enough to assist people in more than 70 countries. Each year, local congregations, community groups, schools, and businesses come together in towns, cities, and rural areas around the United States. From Benton Harbor, Michigan, to Bismarck, North Dakota. From Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to Carlsbad, California, to do what they can to help their neighbors. And that $120 million was raised one community at a time.
Well, this is my 7th year in walking. Actually, I call it rolling. I walk as an inspiration. I enjoy doing it. It gives me the chance to get out and meet more people. Gives me the benefit to ask other people to do the help of God, and it's for a good cause.
I walk for crop because it's a way of showing other people in the community that we care for the hunger, not only in our community, but all over the world.
Why walk? Because I really feel it does make a difference. If you'll pardon the pun, it's good for the soul, S-O-U-L, too, not only just the S-O-L-E that we have to walk on. I really feel when I've done that I've connected. God has brought us together as a father, and this community is different because of it. Each one of these particular buttons up here, I don't know if you can get it too well, they represent a year that I've walked. And some of the years that may be a little rusty, you know, from some of the rain that was on it. But it's been the past 15 years, and I've seen this particular community grow that way in its connectedness.
I really feel good about the work being done. Everyone I know would support my participation, and I know it will make a difference. We're going to do it.
How was it?
It was wonderful.
Do it again, Nick? Do it again
We've
next
done
year?
it 15 years.
Great. Do it again next year?
You bet.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
How was it?
I think it's 10 miles instead of 10 Ks.
Do it again next year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How was it?
Great.
Do it again next year?
Yes, absolutely.
Crop walks and walkers have been putting a lot of soul into the fight against hunger since 1969, but there are still steps we need to take together. I would like to thank my guests, Bill Moser and Rebecca Ball, for their information regarding this year's crop walk. Don't forget the date, Sunday, October 19th at 1:15 at Peters Creek United Presbyterian Church. This is Erma Grego for Senior Perspective.